Explorers, Cute Explorer here, and today I'm here to talk about going on a timeshare presentation with the Holiday Inn Vacation Clubs. So I'm going to talk about my experience and what you need to know before you go to one of their presentations. So let's get into today's video. And before we do, please make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are new here. And if you're new here, welcome. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And thank you for returning. So now let's get into today's video about a timeshare presentation with the Holiday Inn Vacation Club. So if you missed this video, definitely go check it out. I'll have it linked down below in the description box. But recently I stayed at the Holiday Inn Vacation Club at the Orange Lake Resort near Disney World, near Orlando, Florida. It was a wonderful stay. I would definitely stay there again. But how did I get that stay? So I actually went for a timeshare presentation. And this came about because I actually was calling Holiday Inn to put a family member's name on the reservation because I was booking the hotel for them. So I was just calling to make sure I did it correctly so they could get into their reservation once they arrived. At the end of that call, they were like, hey, we want you to stay on because you've been a member for 10 plus years and we want to thank you. So of course, you're staying on because you want to hear what they're talking about. Then this man comes on, he talks about this offer. He does not make it seem like it's a timeshare presentation, I must say, but I knew what it was. I knew what the deal was. So he said like, hey, if you pay now $99, and then you pay another fee upon booking, which was I think $199, you can stay for 4 days, 3 nights at any of their vacation clubs. So there are several locations throughout the US and Mexico that I could stay at. So after asking a lot of questions and verifying if I was eligible to take that offer, I went ahead and booked it because I was like, oh, that's a good deal. I can use this for a trip for myself, trip for me and my mom, whatever. So that's how I ended up getting kind of roped up in doing this timeshare presentation with Holiday Inn Vacation Club. So I already kind of mentioned the cost, so I'm going to break it down to you a little bit more here in this part of the video. So when I initially signed up for this offer, which was in September of 2023, I had to pay $199 off the bat just to reserve this offer. But I got $100 back immediately, as well as 500 points to my IHG accounts just for signing up for the offer. Now, when I went to actually book my stay, then you have to pay an additional fee for your stay. So I ended up booking at the Holiday Inn Vacation Club, Orange Lake Resort, early in 2024. And I ended up booking it for an additional $300. So in total, $400. Now it would have been cheaper if I would have just had a regular suite, but I upgraded to a 2-bedroom suite so me and my mom could have our own rooms and own bathrooms, okay? So that was the extra $100. So it really would have been a $300 stay for 4 days, 3 nights at this resort, but I upgraded for additional $100, making it a total of $400. Mind you, the room that we stayed in can vary from $300 to $400 per night. Okay, so now let's talk about the actual presentation. So the presentation was scheduled for the first full day that I was there at 10 a.m. There was absolutely no way to change the time of the presentation. I called, I tried, because I'm like 10 a.m. and it's gonna last 2 hours. It takes out a big chunk of your morning. And with me having digestive problems at times, that meant I couldn't have breakfast because it wasn't late enough for me to go and get breakfast and digest it properly. And it wasn't early enough to just wait until afterwards. So I headed over to the presentation. I got there at 10 a.m. Everyone had their own individual person they had present and take you on a tour. So we met at like this tour building place, which is right outside of the gated part of the property. You park there and then you will hop into a golf cart where they would take you around to a model, which I never did see the model because they're like, hey, you're already staying here. So I never saw the model. And they take you over to River Island which is where a lot of the activities are. And then they have like a place where you learn about the history of Holiday Inn and their vacation clubs, and you learn more about their timeshare. They also have a movie for you to watch. Now, mind you, when you first start all this, before the tour and all of that, they do ask you information, making sure you're eligible for a timeshare presentation, such as your income, your age, and things of that nature. They also verify that you have your identification and a payment method before you get started. And then once you get the person who's going to take you around, they're going to ask you questions that they hope is going to help persuade you into buying a timeshare, okay? So fast forward to the end. So then you sit down and the person you're with, the representative, is trying to sell you a timeshare. They're going to show you different options of where you can use this timeshare and all of that. And if negotiations aren't going so well and they want to persuade you further, they're going to take you to another room where the hope is where you're going to buy. So this room is where they're going to sit down with you and try to really negotiate pricing. And then they have different other representatives, I don't know their titles, where if you do sign off, you have like an accountant, you have someone like that does the real estate documents and all of that. And if you ever get into that room with the real estate documents where you're going to sign off on the equity, because when you buy a timeshare, you are buying equity as if you were buying a house. And those rooms are monitored by camera. And so they have it video documented what's going on once you get inside that room to sign off on the paperwork. So let's talk about the negotiation. So my intention was never to buy a timeshare, and I did not. Okay, I did not buy a timeshare, okay? Let's just put that out there. I was intrigued, I wanted to learn more, but I am a person who budgets and plans ahead, and we all know inflation and the cost of living is up there right now. So that was not on my radar to even do at this point in my life in 2024. So I kept telling the representative no and no. This is when we're still at the place where they have the history and the movie or whatever. And I kept saying no, 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 no. And they still were like, let's go over and talk to this person. I should have just got up and walked away. I'm like, period. But they had taken me away from my vehicle at the tour reception over to another building. And it was 10,000 degrees outside. So it's like, I gotta get back to my car with this person who has me held hostage here. We went to another room to discuss further, and I kept saying, no, I'm not interested. So she used tactics like, I know you can afford this. Solo travel is dangerous, which is not. I mean, you can have danger going to the grocery store, especially in the United States. Come on, let's be real. So they use different tactics to try to help persuade you to buy one of their timeshares. Of course, they're marketing, they're doing their job as a salesperson. But once you get in that room, they start negotiating different prices and trying to find a package that's good for you. So obviously they're going to market you the package they want you to buy, but there's other packages available. And if you're pushing back and you really are interested, you may find something that works for you. Because mind you, if you are interested in buying a timeshare, you're gonna have to pay for closing costs that day, because who has that planned randomly on a vacation? But you have to pay closing costs. And then with a timeshare, you do have to pay a maintenance fee every year, and you may have to pay other fees throughout the year, and you're gonna have to pay off the equity you bought. So basically like a house payment every single month. So that is something that you can negotiate, all those different pieces. Obviously you may not get all the perks as you would on the top tier package, but negotiating that price does happen, and they'll keep happening, and it will go way longer than 2 hours if you allow it to. So they tell you 2 hours, but I ended up being there for 4, and I didn't even want the timeshare. But that's what happens during the negotiation process. Is getting a timeshare for you with Holiday Inn or with any brand, that you have to think about that yourself, okay? I do highly recommend, if you end up signing up for a timeshare presentation and you are not a person that will just get up and walk out and leave, it's probably not for you, because they are going to be pushy. They want to sell to you, okay? So you want to be able to say no if you can say no, and like you have to say no and just get up and leave. There's no like, no, I'm not interested. They don't, at least my person did not hear you. It's no, get up, leave, bye, see you later. So you have to really be structured in doing that. Otherwise, they're going to keep on going. It will really test your patience and your sanity depending on who you're working with. Also, you need to make sure that's in your budget. One thing that really kind of sucks with this process is, like, for me personally, I don't know if this is for everyone. If I'm not planning to buy anything that day, especially something of that value, of that cost, I need to budget it. I need to go and sit down and see, is this gonna fit in my current monthly expenses? Yes or no? And if it's not gonna fit, if I do not have that extra income at the time, I cannot buy it. And that was one thing I was trying to explain to my representative, that I cannot do this. And they're like, well, you can't do this any other time. But I'm not interested because I cannot figure out the math. I have to sit down and really figure out the math. If you are one of those people, or a person like me that needs to sit down and see that this costs this, will this fit into my budget? This is not for you, because they're not going to allow that. You have to buy then and there. Another thing, depending on who it is, there's going to be a lot of fast talking. I don't like that either, because you may miss some things in the fast talking process. You may miss key details. You may miss things about the contract. I don't like that. So you really, you need the whole day. You need to really have time to ask the questions and make them slow down. If you do not have that time available, as I did not, and I'm missing something at Disney World because of this, then this is not for you, okay? Now, but if this is something you have been interested in, you've been peeking like, hey, I want a little timeshare, still allow time to ask questions on your vacation. You do not want to rush through this, because they're going to rush through it, okay? They know the material and they know how to sell you. They know what to say and what not to say. Of course, that's their job. Unfortunately for me, I ended up in the room because I was so aggravated. I just wanted to get out of the situation. I'm missing out on valuable time on my mother-daughter trip. And I'm like, sure, whatever, this is a good package. They started typing up documents and everything. And there was a million documents. I didn't even sign this much when I bought my house. Okay, I own a home and I didn't sign this many documents. They're going over the documents, and while I was in that room, which that room is recorded, I was like, I feel pressured into doing this. He stopped it immediately. That was the only person really there. I can't even remember his name, but he was really actually helpful in alleviating the situation and getting everything reversed. I realized pressure was the key word I should have been saying the whole time. But if you're going, you got to realize it's going to take time. You got to be able to get up and say no if you don't want it. And if you do want a timeshare, you need to go in there knowing that your budget is available and what you can budget, because you're not going to know any of the numbers before you go in, especially with Holiday Inn Vacation Club. I don't know about the other brands. Should you consider Holiday Inn Vacation Club for a timeshare, for a purchase and your equity? That's all on you. Like I said, that's something you have to consider for your budget. Are you interested in travel? Do you love a vacation club? I know people who own with Holiday Inn Vacation Clubs. I'm not one. But they do enjoy their ownership with Holiday Inn Vacation Clubs and what it has to offer. But it's not for everyone. So some of the key things that I did learn about having ownership with the Holiday Inn Vacation Club is that, yes, you own equity. So that will increase your equity when you own with Holiday Inn Vacation Club. You can find last minute deals for very low cost. You get a certain amount of points every single year, depending how much your package is when you buy it, for you to redeem at their hotels. They partner with RCI and other international brands, even other hotel chains. You can use points to stay when you travel internationally. So there's a lot of opportunities there. And even if you don't have the points, you can get hotel stays or vacation club stays at a lower price than people who don't have ownership with Holiday Inn Vacation Club. Oh, and another point, owners have top priority at their properties. So there's only going to be a certain amount of stays available for people who are not owners. But if you're our owner, you have first dibs, you have the better accommodations, I would say, at the properties. So those are some good things about staying or buying into the Holiday Inn Vacation Club. If you don't want to own, it's because maybe you don't stay at Holiday Inn Vacation Clubs. Maybe you do other things for stays like house sitting or Airbnb, or you stay with people. You do couch surfing. I've never done that. Maybe you stay in hostels. There are a lot of different ways to stay and travel internationally or domestically without having a timeshare. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you enjoyed today's video, please make sure you hit the like button. If you would like to ask some questions around my experience at the timeshare presentation, leave that down below in the comment box. Or if you have any comments about this video, leave that down below as well, but keep it classy. And keep in mind, I do not work for Holiday Inn Vacation Club, so do not come to me complaining about your experience. Complain to them directly. Also, make sure if you have not already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. It is free for you to do so. It helps me provide more and better content to you in the future. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Make sure you share this video with your friends, family, and your social media networks so they can learn about the timeshare presentations with Holiday Inn Vacation Clubs as well. And lastly, if you enjoyed this video and would love to leave me a little tip to support my business further, hit the thanks button down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and night wherever in the world you are. Bye.